Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to do an intermediate class. I'm saying class because it's going to be a video formatted in the sequence of a class. However, I would say that this does not replace your in-person classes. You should go to in-person class. Working with a teacher one-on-one is very, very important because teachers in person can see what you're doing, whereas I cannot see what you're doing and give you specific individual corrections. So in-person class is very important, but moving past that, if you want to supplement to your in-person class, here's an intermediate class that we can do in this video. So we're going to start, like in most classes, with a little bit of conditioning. We're going to do some intermediate moves, and then I'm going to show you how to put them together for a little combo. Typical class stuff. I hope you guys will enjoy it, and here it is. Okay, we're going to start with just a little bit of conditioning, and this is one of my favorite conditioning exercises. We're doing the intermediate version, but there are also more advanced and less advanced, easier versions. Basically, for the intermediate, we're just going to lift up our knees as high as possible, straighten your legs, trying to lift your legs as high as possible. You can see how I'm pointing my toes almost up to the ceiling here, and then lowering with control. The more advanced version of this would be to lift your legs straight up and straight down, and the slightly easier version would be to keep your knees bent the whole time, just lifting your knees towards your chest. Next up, we're going to focus on exercises to help inversions and mounts. We're going to start with this straddle mount by putting hands together in the center of the hoop, pulling up, lifting your hips, shooting one leg out on each side of your hands, and coming into your straddle. From there, you can hook on your knees to come into a hawk's position. And we're going to do these little leg bounces. This is a great hamstring strengthener. I recommend doing at least 15 to 20. And we're going to do one more exercise for straddle mounts and inversions. I'm coming into my straddle, I'm letting my hips come down and then lifting them up. This is going to strengthen my abs and core and torso, but it's also going to train my body that every time I'm in that straddle, I need to have my chest pushing through my arms and my hips as far up as possible. And finally, because this is an intermediate class, we're going to do some elbow hangs. I know that they hurt at first, but you got to practice them or they will hurt forever. If you practice them, they will eventually hurt less and less and be much more comfortable. Make sure that you are hooking the bendy part of your elbow pit, so right where that joint is, onto the hoop. You also want to keep your hand below the level of the bottom bar of the hoop at all times. You can place your free hand onto your wrist if you want, but don't pull down because that will make it hurt worse. All I'm doing for this exercise is lifting one leg, then the other leg, then two legs at the same time. Basically, I am just getting used to having my full body weight on that elbow. Any kind of elbow hang can bring a lot of tension into your arms, so after doing this exercise, I recommend doing a few little forearm stretches like I'm doing here. Let's get started on choreography now. I am going to start with a proper mount into the hoop because this is intermediate class and we do proper mounts here. Yay! So I'm basically just doing a straddle, hooking my knees on, grabbing my hands as high as possible, and then using one straight leg to lever myself into the hoop. Once I am nicely seated in the center of the hoop, we're going to start our first move for this little combo, which is going to be a star on the bar. Kind of a beginner move. We're starting it off easy, but we're going to do a fun transition out of it that's more intermediate level. For a star on the bar, I'm walking my hips forward, bringing the hoop onto my lower back near my tailbone, opening one leg, then the other, and coming into a nice, locked-in, solid star on the bar. Next, I'm going to place my hands between my hips and my legs, and then slowly slide my hips forward out of the hoop, flexing my feet as I go down. And when I reach the bottom, I can leave my weight hanging from my feet and go into a bird's nest. To get out of it, I replace my hands in the center of the hoop, go through my straddle, and once again, correctly mount the hoop beautifully. If you're feeling ambitious, or if this feels a little bit easy to you, you can do the more advanced version, which is to go into the star on the bar and then slide down without putting your hands on into the bird's nest hanging from your feet. All you need to remember for this is doing the exact same motion as you did when your hands were on the hoop, but you're pushing out against the sides of the hoop with your legs. My lower body is really engaged and keeping my feet strongly flexed the whole time. I get out of it exactly the same way, and it's a nice little sequence there, but just by itself. Next up, we're going to do an alien split. If you want a more in-depth tutorial for an alien split, because it is a little complicated, I have one already on this channel, as I do tutorials for all of these moves. But very simply, from hocks, you're going to reach up, place one hand between your knees and one hand on the outside of your legs, making sure to leave enough space for your hips to pass through between your arms. You're going to unhook both legs and bring your hips down through your wrist, lifting up your shoulders and your head, and also lifting up your back leg. To come out of it, you're going to bring your leg down and then rehook both legs onto the bottom bar where they were before. The most important part of this move is bringing those hips through your arms and coming down behind you. Also, lifting the back leg is super important because it really elongates your line and makes this move easier to hold. Our third move in today's intermediate combo is going to be a Russian roll. Again, I already have a full tutorial for this if you need a little extra help. It's quite a complicated move sometimes to get, but basically you're going to reach up and place your hands at about 4 and 8 o'clock on the hoop. You might want to do a little lower or a little higher because it's a slightly different placement for each person. You're going to take one leg out and then do a few beats, rolling your body around the bottom of the hoop before you shoot that leg through the center of the hoop and pull up with your arms, pulling yourself up to the center of the hoop with one leg in and one leg out. If that feels comfortable, then there's a couple of more advanced versions you could try to challenge yourself. The first one is to do the Russian roll with no beats. So you're just going from hanging by one leg directly into that Russian roll. Basically, you're just trying to throw the leg through with as much power as possible and pull up with your arms at the same time. You could also try doing multiple Russian rolls here by doing 2 or 3 or 4 chained up in a row, just dropping back down the back of the hoop each time and rolling back in. Also remember that hand placement is crucial for a successful Russian roll, so if you're struggling, try moving your hands up or down slightly and seeing if that helps. Moving on, let's go to the finale of today's combo. The final move is going to be a beauty roll. I'm doing it into Amazon, but you could also do a standard beauty roll into cradle. I'm going to start by going into a mermaid, leaning backwards out of the hoop, rotating my hips so that my belly faces directly towards the ground, and taking out my outside leg, that's the leg that's farther away from the hoop. Next, I'm going to rotate my shoulders and chest back towards the hoop, keeping that knee nice and bent. I'm going to thread my hand between the hoop and my torso. I can use the back of my hand to push the hoop away if I need to. And my knee follows my hand. I'm also pulling with my top arm, keeping my elbow bent. And finally, I rotate almost all the way around. I'm turning that foot up to the sky, lifting it as high as possible, and sneaking it through the center of the hoop as I replace my free arm in the center of the hoop with a straight elbow coming into Amazon. There are a lot of elements going on in this roll, so it does often take quite a while to get, but keep practicing it, don't give up. The more you do it, the more it's going to click in your brain and it's going to get a little bit simpler every time. The goal that you want to have with this beauty roll is to make it look smooth. I'm showing it to you again in real time right now so you can see that when I rotate, I'm trying to do everything smoothly and gracefully, like it's just one movement instead of a lot of different elements happening. Now that we've done each move individually, we're going to put them together in our intermediate combo for the day. Starting with star on the bar. You can have a nice moment for your arms here to do some creative arm movements before you slide down into that bird's nest. Regrip with your hands, coming into the alien split. I'm changing up a little bit by bending my back leg here, but you can also keep your legs straight. Rehooking those knees, reaching up high on the hoop, taking your leg off and going right into that Russian roll. Remember, you could add multiple Russian rolls there if you feel like it. Finally, I'm leaning backwards, doing my mermaid, rotating around, and doing my beauty roll into Amazon. Yay! These are some of my favorite moves, and it was actually really fun putting them together in this little combo. I really like this, and I might actually use it in a routine. that's it. That's our intermediate class. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's maybe a slightly challenging, it's a slightly more like advanced version of intermediate than a beginner version of intermediate, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you found some things to work on, some challenges, and I hope you found some things you liked. If you did, please do take a minute to give this video a thumbs up and also to subscribe to my channel because it is popping with new videos all the time. Don't miss out on the new videos. They're popping your way. What am I even talking about? But yeah, if you enjoy me being weird on this channel, then please do subscribe. And with that, I will see you guys next time.